Hello there.
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is April with the For Richer Horror podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the Jersey Devil. So this is going to be the first of many cryptids that I'll kind of be discussing. Cryptid, urban legend, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so without a doubt, New Jersey's oldest... Thank you, Loki. Sorry, my dog was just licking my leg. So without a doubt, New Jersey's oldest, most enduring, and important piece of folklore is the tale of the infamous Jersey Devil. For close to 300 years now, Jerseyans have told tales of this mythical beast that stalks the Pine Barrens and terrorizes local residents. In southern New Jersey and Philadelphia folklore of the United States, the Jersey Devil, which is also known as the Leeds Devil, it's a legendary creature to inhabit the forest of Pine Barrens in South Jersey. The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations of the Jersey Devil. The common description is that of a bipedal kangaroo-like or wyvern-like creature with a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat wings, horns, small arms with clawed hands, legs with cloven hooves, and a forked tail. It has been reported to move quickly and is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. So let's get to how the Jersey Devil came to be. Legend has it that in 1735, a Pines resident known as Mother Leeds found herself pregnant for the 13th time. And Leeds is the name of one of New Jersey's earliest settlers, and many descendants of the Leeds families can still be found throughout New Jersey to this day. But Mother Leeds was not living a wealthy lifestyle by any means. Her husband was a drunkard who made few efforts to provide for his wife and 12 children. So, reaching the point of absolute exasperation upon learning of her 13th child, she raised her hands to the heavens and proclaimed, "Let this one be a devil." Mother Leeds went into labor a few months later on a tumultuously stormy night, no longer mindful of the curse that she had uttered previously regarding her unborn child. Her children and husband huddled together in one room of the Leeds Point home, while local midwives gathered to deliver the baby in another. By all accounts, the birth went routinely, and the 13th Leeds child was seemingly normal baby boy. Within minutes, though, Mother Leeds' unholy wish of months before began to come to fruition. So the baby started to change, and it morphed right before her very eyes. Within moments, it transformed from a beautiful newborn baby into a hideous creature, unlike anything the world had ever seen. The wailing infant began growing at an incredible rate. It sprouted horns from the top of its head, and talon-like claws tore through the tips of its fingers. Leathery, bat-like wings unfurled from its back, and hair and feathers sprouted all over the child's body. Its eyes began glowing bright red as they grew larger in the monster's gnarled and snarling face. The creature savagely attacked its own mother, killing her, then turned its attention to the rest of the horrified onlookers who witnessed its tempestuous transformation. It flew at them, clawing and biting, voicing unearthly shrieks the entire time. It tore the midwives limb from limb, maiming some and killing others. The monster then knocked down the door to the next room where its own father and siblings cowered in fear and attacked them all, killing as many as it could. Those who survived to tell the tale then watched in horror as the rotten beast sprinted to the chimney and flew up it, destroying it on the way and leaving a pile of rubble in its wake. The creature then made its escape into the darkness and desolation of the Pine Barrens, where it has lived ever since. To this day, the creature, known varyingly as Leeds Devil and the Jersey Devil, claims the Pines as its own and terrorizes any who are unfortunate enough to encounter it. In the 18th and 19th century, the Jersey Devil was spotted sporadically throughout the Pine Barrens region, frightening local residents and any of those brave enough to traverse the vast, undeveloped expanse of New Jersey's southern reaches. Unearthly wails were often reported emanating from the dark forests and swampy bogs, and the slaughter of domesticated animals would invariably be attributed to the Phantom of the Pines. Over the years, the legend of the Leeds Devil grew, occasionally even overstepping the boundaries of its rural Pine Barrens haunt to terrorize local towns and cities. The most infamous of these incidents occurred during the week of January 16th through the 20th in 1909. Early in the week, reports started emerging from all over the Delaware Valley that strange tracks were being found in the snow. The mysterious footprints went over and under fences, through fields and backyards, and across the rooftops of houses. There were even reports in the large cities of Camden and Philadelphia. Panic immediately began to spread, and posses formed in more than one town. Fear and intrigue grew even greater when it was reported that bloodhounds refused to follow the unidentified creature's trail in Hamilton. Schools closed and suffered low attendance throughout lower New Jersey and in Philadelphia. Mills in the Pine Barrens were forced to close when workers refused to leave their homes and travel through the woods to get to their jobs. During the week of January 16th to January 23rd, 1909, newspapers at the time published hundreds of claimed encounters with the Jersey Devil from all over South Jersey and the Philadelphia area. Eyewitnesses spotted the beast in Camden and in Bristol, Pennsylvania, and in both cities, police fired on it, but did not manage to bring it down. A few days later, it reappeared in Camden, attacking a late-night meeting of a social club and then flying away. Earlier that day, it had appeared in Hampden Heights, terrorizing a trolley car full of passengers before flying away. Witnesses claimed that it looked like a large flying kangaroo. I find that interesting. I don't know. If it looked like a kangaroo, I'd want to go hug it. Like, I know how dangerous kangaroos are, but that just makes me think it's like fluffy, not devilish. So another trolley car full of people saw it in Burlington when it scurried across the tracks in front of their cars. In West Collingswood, it appeared on the roof of a house and was described as an ostrich-like creature. Getting a little scarier there. Okay. Move up from kangaroo to ostrich. Firemen turned their hose upon it, but it attacked them and then flew away. The entire week, people reported that their livestock, particularly their chickens, were being slaughtered. This was most widespread in the towns of Bridgeton and Millville. The marauding misanthrope, it's an interesting description. I don't know why I wrote that. But anyway, it reappeared later in the week in Camden, where a local woman found the beast attempting to eat her dog. She hit it with a broomstick and it flew away. So I guess broomsticks might be its kryptonite. Good to know. Good to know if I ever go to Jersey. While there's not since been another week to match the frequency, fervor, or intensity of January 1909 rampage, numerous sightings of the Jersey Devil have continued to be reported to this day. The tales of the devil have spread beyond the Pine Barrens and have been embraced by all of Jersey, even to the point where it's been largely commercialized. The devil is portrayed in toys, on t-shirts, and is even the subject of his own feature film. There was even a roller coaster named after it. And most famously, the devil has lent its name to New Jersey's hockey team, the Jersey Devils. There are still many, however, who believe that the Jersey Devil is very real, very dangerous creature. There has been a constant stream of reports over the years of the devil's encounters. Most often, people report finding strange, unidentified tracks in the sandy soil and desolate areas of the Pine Barrens. Most reports claim that they are the footprints of a strange bird. Others say that they closely resemble hoof prints, although whatever it is, it just walks on two legs. There have even been a substantial amount of reports that describe The tracks as being cloven, a well-cited description of the feet hooves of a more famous devil-Satan kind of mix. While less frequent, there are still occasional reports of people who see more than just tracks and manage to catch a glimpse of the Jersey Devil himself. He is more commonly described as having the body of a kangaroo, head of a dog, face of a horse, large leather wings, antlers similar to those of a deer, and a forked reptilian tail and intimidating claws. Some Jerseyans embrace their devil as nothing more than a quaint figment of their collective imagination, source of unification and pride, and a unique and important piece of New Jersey's folk culture. Others see it as a very real creature and threat to their safety. Still, others have sworn that they do not believe in the existence of the Jersey Devil. They've had their minds changed after spending just one moonlit night in the Pine Barrens. There was a ghostly mist that drifted across the cedar swamps and the unearthly cry of some unseen creature that can be heard piercing the stillness of the dark forest. And few disbelievers can be found. Whether it's deep in the Pine Barrens or deep in the collective unconscious, one thing is certain: the devil still lurks in New Jersey, and most likely always will. So this is someone's recount of their experiencing the Jersey Devil, so I'll be reading it from their point of view. This has haunted me since it happened in 1972. I was a senior at what was then Glasgow State College. I had heard about the Jersey Devil when I came to South Jersey, but being from North Jersey, which is a different world, I thought I was far too sophisticated to believe in such humbuggery. One winter night, I was driving Glasgow from Blackwood on Green Tree Road. At the time, the road was flanked by orchards and farms. There were few houses and there was hardly any development. I was completely sober and awake when I caught a glimpse of something in my rearview mirror. Curious as to what it could have been, I slowed down to take a gander. It was dark out, but moonlit enough that I had no trouble at all discerning the upright figure of a creature crossing the road from one side to the other, roughly 25 feet behind my car. The figure stood taller than a man by far, and had thick haunches, similar to a goat's, supporting its nearly human-looking torso and huge woolly head. It moved heavily and didn't seem at all disturbed by me being there. I didn't linger long enough to see much more. I hit the gas and flew to the Mansion Park apartments in the borough. So petrified was I that I slept the rest of the night in the car, unwilling to go into the same darkness that had introduced me to the Jersey Devil. Never again, from that day on, had I ridden on Green Tree Road, day or night, and that I haven't gotten the heebie-jeebies just thinking about that winter night so long ago. This is another story. I spent a lot of time in the Pine Barrens when I was growing up in New Jersey and had my share of strange experiences. When I was 13, I was camping alone near Hampton Furnace. I had a bow with me and went looking for a rabbit dinner about an hour before sundown. Something started following me back in the trees. It tailed me back to my camp and circled while I cooked my dinner. This kept up until about 2 hours after dark, and let me tell you, it was one dark night. I finally decided that my visitor had moved on and crawled into my tent. When I just started to calm down, I heard a foot stomp down right behind the tent. I got all set to jump when this thing, whatever it was, started screaming. I would compare the volume of the scream to a large truck's horn. I couldn't decide what to do. I had my bow and knife, but they didn't seem like much. After several blasts, it just stopped. I didn't hear a sound except my heart for about an hour. I was sure that if I stuck my head out that tent, I'd lose it. In the morning, I could find no tracks in the pine needles. To this day, I still don't sleep in tents. I'd rather take my chances in the open. This one is field trips to the Jersey Devil's turf. As a native of Cape May County, I've had the typical rite of passage trip to the Pine Barrens, the legendary home of the Jersey Devil. This Jersey girl went to Cape May County Technical High School, which sponsored trips to the Pine Barrens for good grades in certain classes. I was one of the fortunate students to go 3 times during my 4-year career at CMCT. Each time I went on this trip, my canoe was followed by a heavy-footed thing. With each step, I heard branches snap under its feet or hooves. Every 10 or so minutes, I could hear deep, beastly growls that to this very day give me the creeps. Being in a canoe and on a class trip don't afford me much opportunity to flee in terror, so I stuck it out for 3 years. Every year it was the same. During my sophomore year, I was pretty confident about my canoeing skills, so I didn't look over my shoulder much. I went canoeing with a friend of mine when we came across a bag that had been torn open and gone through. Around it were prints on the ground that looked something like a horse's hoof, only bigger. Then I heard it, the cry that still haunts my dream, part human, part beast, and full of anger, pregnant with pure hate. I nearly flipped the canoe. We left, leaving whatever it was out there behind, or so I thought. It seemed to follow us. Every time we stopped or paused, it got closer to the river. We pushed on. Then worse came to worst. As we tipped the canoe, I heard the running thing behind us and thought for sure we were dead. Then we righted our canoe and got into it as fast as humanly possible. We finally made it out safely, sun fried to a crisp, missing all of our valuables and most of our clothes, but never happier to be on shore. We packed up our bus and left. As we were leaving, I rested my head on the window and saw a little cottage. I looked at it until the bus was about to pass it and saw a woman. She looked back at me and I could see her skin was torn and bleeding. After the bus passed, she vanished. It scared me so badly I wouldn't go to the woods for a year. So obviously I've read a few people's encounters with the Jersey Devil, and they seem to believe it, obviously. But was curious if there was any contradictions or any hoaxes that might be involved, so let's talk about that. Skeptics believe the Jersey Devil to be nothing more than a creative manifestation upon the imagination of early English settlers. Plausible natural explanation includes boogeyman stories created and told by bored Pine Barrens residents as a form of children's entertainment, maybe the byproduct of historical local disdain for the Leeds family, the misidentification of known animals, and rumors based on common negative perceptions of the local rural population of Pine Barrens. The frightening reputation of the Pine Barrens may indeed have contributed to the Jersey Devil legend. Historically, the Pine Barrens was considered inhospitable land. Gangs of highwaymen, such as the politically disdained loyalist brigands known as the Pine Robbers, were known to rob and attack travelers passing through the Barrens. During the 1700s and the 1800s, residents of the isolated Pine Barrens were deemed the dregs or outcasts of society. Poor farmers, fugitives, brigands, Native Americans, poachers, moonshiners, runaway slaves, and deserting soldiers. So-called Pineys have sometimes fostered certain frightening stories about themselves and the Pine Barrens to discourage outsiders and intruders from inside the Barrens. Pineys were further demonized and vilified after 2 eugenics studies were published during the early 20th century, which depicted Pineys as congenital idiots and criminals, as seen in the research performed on the Killicack family by Henry Goddard, which is now considered biased and inaccurate and most likely falsified, which is good. Jeff Brunner of the Humane Society of New Jersey thinks that the Sandhill Crane is the basis of the Jersey Devil stories, adding, "There are no photographs, no bones, no hard evidence whatsoever, and worst of all, no explanation of its origins that doesn't require belief in the supernatural." Other people have testified about it. Outdoorsman and author Tom Brown Jr. spent several seasons living in the wilderness of the Pine Barrens. He recounts occasions when terrified hikers mistook him for the Jersey Devil after he covered his whole body with mud to repel mosquitoes. Medical sociologist Robert E. Bartholomew and author Peter Hassel cite the 1909 series of sightings and the subsequent public panic as classic example of mass hysteria begun by a regional urban legend. Due in part to their isolated and undeveloped nature, the Pine Barrens have themselves fostered various folk legends Apart from the Jersey Devil, many other legends are associated with the Pine Barrens. Supernatural creatures and ghosts said to haunt the pine forest include the ghost of pirate Captain Kidd, who supposedly buried treasure in the Pine Barrens and is sometimes allegedly seen in the company of the Jersey Devil. The ghost of the Black Doctor, the benevolent spirit of an African-American doctor who, after being forbidden from practicing medicine due to his race, entered the Pine Barrens to practice medicine in the isolated communities of the Barrens, and is said to still come to the aid of lost or injured travelers. There's also the ghost of the Black Dog, which, unlike many Black Dog legends, is usually portrayed as harmless. The ghost of the golden-haired girl, spirit of a girl who is said to be staring out into the sea, dressed in white, mourning the loss of her lover at sea. And the white stag, a ghostly white deer said to rescue travelers in the Barrens from danger. There are also folk tales concerning the Blue Hole, an unusually clear blue and rounded body of water located in the Pine Barrens between Monroe Township, Gloucester County, and Winslow Township, Camden County, and often associated with the Jersey Devil. Someone described the Jersey Devil as an obscure regional legend for most of its existence and said that after more than 250 years in oral circulation, legend of the Jersey Devil has many variations. This was said by Rutgers professor Angus Cress Gillespie. Gillespie also cites that the devil's image used on t-shirts, buttons, and postcards and cocktails named after the devil as indication that the recent history of the Jersey Devil is more in the realm of popular culture than folklore. So next we have some hoaxes. Gordon Stein in Encyclopedia of Hoaxes notes that the alleged footprint of the Jersey Devil during 1909 resembled a horse's hoof. Also, according to Gordon Stein, a man later admitted he had faked some of those hoof prints. Norman Jeffries was a resident that was accused of being involved in hoaxing the Jersey Devil. Norman Jeffries, publicist for Philadelphia's Arch Street Museum and renowned hoaxer, was well aware of the stories about the Jersey Devil. So when the museum proprietor, T.F. Hopkins, admitted that it was danger of closure unless Jeffries came up with something to boost attendance, the publicist decided that a captive Jersey Devil would be the ideal crowd puller. He also planted non-fictional newspaper stories about new sightings of the devil. During 1909, Jeffrey, with his friends Jacob Hope, an animal trainer, purchased a kangaroo from a circus and glued artificial nails and bat wings on it. They declared to the public that they had captured the devil, and it was displayed at the museum. 20 years later, Jeffrey admitted to the hoax. So that is the Jersey Devil kind of summed up. There is evidence proving the existence of the devil, and then there's also contradictions to that. So what do you guys think? Did anyone grow up in Jersey and know the Jersey Devil is real or not? Any sightings? Any contradictions? I'd be interested to find out. I don't know. I feel like the Jersey Devil is just so integrated that how messed up would it be to find out, oh, it wasn't real? I don't know. I feel like I believe in it just because I like to believe in those things. I may be weird. I may be the only one. But let me know if you think you believe in the Jersey Devil. Alrighty guys, that's going to wrap up this episode. I will talk at you next week. Bye!